We're talking about an interesting topic, intentional living. This is 2026. I said earlier that we've used 1 month. Today is the end of January, but then we've got 11 months, and it's very important to understand what it takes to live intentionally, to enjoy your life and live the best life you can live. We have a guest in the house. She's a lawyer. I like lawyers because I wish I could be a lawyer, but then the number of years in school,
That's still young now.
my energy, I'm still young, right? I can
Young
do it.
that's like 41, right?
You wish I am that, right? You like sugar daddies a lot. Look at that. Why do you like thinking of 41, 40 something?
I love
you
men.
like pot belly, you like thinking of 41,
Exactly.
you like, why?
I love daddies with white beards.
Why? Babe, chill. we have a guest in the house. She's a lawyer. Her name is Alero Ejeye. Am I right? Did I pronounce that well?
Yes, you did.
Thanks for joining
Which
us.
is very strange. Most people actually get the pronunciation.
I'm a
wrong.
broadcaster, so I should pronounce names properly. Thanks for joining us. You've been, I know you've been here before.
Yes, I
I'm
have.
glad to have you again. Like I said before we started it, so I went through your profile on X, and I saw that you said you are romantically entangled with Nigeria.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay. So basically, what it means when I say I'm romantically entangled with Nigeria is I'm a very patriotic citizen. I love to pride myself in that. And, you know, when we say entanglement, we all know the whole entanglement story with Jada and all that. It means sometimes it can be a toxic relationship, but I am in to stay. So it means I'm romantically entangled with Nigeria in that sense. I'm very patriotic. I love Nigeria. Despite the ups and downs, I'm still entangled.
Okay, so my
Yeah.
producer just told me now that he really likes the fact that you're patriotic Nigerian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because these days we hardly get patriotic Nigerians. I'm kind of skeptical, but I've been warned, like I said, not to mention this part, but I want to say it. I want to say it. I want to say because it's my show and I can say it on my show.
Okay. So what are we
So being a
saying?
patriotic Nigerian, what's your thoughts about the reaction of many Nigerians, including media houses, to the situation that happened in Turkey?
Okay.
The President Bola Tinubu,
Voila.
that a cameraman was going and actually used this tripod to, mistakenly
And tripped.
trip the president. And people have been going on and on and on and on about it. So being a patriotic Nigerian, what's your thoughts about that?
Okay. Well, this is a very dicey question that you have asked me, because as a patriotic citizen, I of course, when I see those videos making fun of him, I'm not happy. It makes me sad because I see other countries and I see their presidents and how they are smart and everything. And when I see that people are making jokes about our presidents, not just even us, basically, the whole world basically is making jokes about, you know, my president, it makes me feel bad as a patriotic citizen. It makes me feel like, you know, let's get over this. Can we move ahead? Can we, you know,
And say something
yeah, can we
better.
change the channel, something like that? Can we just be on the news for something good? Can we trend for something good? That's just my reaction, basically.
So how do we change that narrative?
Well, I mean, Rome was not built in a day, and I think that, you know, from social media, there are a lot of people that are clamoring for change and all of that. I think the best, I was saying it in the office, I think last week, that we're in the room and I asked people that how many of us, we complain a lot in Nigeria, but how many of us here have PVCs and how many of us actually voted? The ratio of people that were registered and the people that voted, the gap was much. People registered but didn't come out to vote. So how many people in this room have PVCs and how many of you are going to use that PVC on that day? I was number 1 on the list when it was time to vote for the last presidential election. I had to walk from my house to the polling unit. I was number 1. So it means I got there around 6 a.m. I left my house. And I feel most people should take politics that seriously. When you go to countries like America, they have very serious ideologies. There are the Republicans and then there are the Democrats. And it's a serious issue. You know, sometimes you see people, first date question is, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? And it's a deal breaker for some people if you're on the other side. And that's because it is that serious. Because people that you put in power make policies that affect you for 4 years, 8 years. And as a young person, if a person comes into power when you're maybe in your early 20s, it means that person will be there till maybe you're in your early 30s. And that's your youth. That's it. And so whatever policies are made during that period of time, it's going to affect your life. It's going to affect the quality of life that you give the children that you would have. So I think it's a very serious, and I think the way we can change it, I'm a preacher of get your PVC, vote, and don't believe that your vote doesn't count. I believe it counts.
Thank you very much, Alero. No, I like that part. She's such a patriotic Nigerian, romantically entitled to Nigeria. I like that. And that's been
I'm an intentional Nigerian.
And that's been intentional. And that comes to the topic of today, where we're talking about intentional living. What would you say is intentional living? How would you define it?
So I think I'll define intentional living as living with purpose, making choices, intentional choices, planned choices. Let me not use the same word in my definition. Planned choices, because that's what intentional means. Just planning things, making sure that there's clarity in your life and your decisions are not, your decisions in life are not based on maybe external factors like, you know, all the economic inflation, pressures of life, emergencies, expectations. You know, basically it's being intentional in your living is putting all those external factors aside and choosing, okay, despite this, I mean, it doesn't mean your life will be perfect, but it means that at least there will be clarity as to what your life is at the moment and what it will be in the nearest future.
So what would you say is intentional about you and that habit you found very, very difficult to unlearn, or should I say let go?
Okay, so I think in my early 20s, I used to be very carried away with social media until one day, which is also one of the things that affects people's intentional decisions. Pressure from social media, you want to quickly make a decision, something that maybe you're not ready for at that point in your life. You want to, you know. And one thing I told it was a realization that happened to me on a random day. I was having a very bad day. I think I had classes. I was just really sweaty. I looked nice when I was leaving the house. Very nice. I had made plans that I was going to snap pictures, you know, at Motion Ground. I attended OAU. And by the time it was midday, I was already sweating. Everywhere I didn't feel like taking a picture. And at that moment, I realized, you know what? When you're having your bad days, you don't post. When you're having your worst days, not necessarily like you're crying or anything, but maybe days that you have so many deadlines to meet up with, you're so busy, you're stressed, you're tired, maybe the night before you slept around 10 p.m. or 12. You don't snap pictures on those days. You snap pictures on your best days. When your best foot is forward, that's when you snap pictures, and that's what you put out there. So it made me realize that I will not base my life off social media, because just like me, you know, people don't post their bad days. People don't post their, you know. So that was one of the things that made me become more intentional about my life. It was one habit, like you said, that helped me to shape the trajectory of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, so for someone like me, I believe to a very large extent I'm very intentional about the way I live. But now, for someone who is intentional, I think the parts that I've not been able to crack, or the knot I've not been able to crack, is I'm very intentional about everything I do. I'm very intentional about the way I live.
Yeah.
But I find it difficult to relate with people who are not also intentional. It's a very big challenge, and sometimes it looks like there's a friction where I see someone who is nonchalant, who is not intentional, who doesn't, have everything done, do. So we tend to always have issues all the time. So And like I say, you can't always influence people to be who they are not.
Yeah.
Now, how can you manage such relationships with, well, you're an intentional person, this person is not intentional.
Yeah.
But how can you manage that relationship where it doesn't seem to be friction all the time?
Okay, so first thing I'll say is everyone's reality is different. Everyone's goal is different. My goal is different from yours. Not everyone is going to be ambitious. Not everyone is going to be organized. Not everyone is going to, some people are just okay with simple life, autopilot mode. Let's see where the world takes me. So in a situation like that, once you have it at the back of your mind that everyone has different realities and aspirations, it helps you to manage your expectations in that relationship. So for instance, as a very intentional person, driven, or you like your life very organized, and you meet someone that is very interesting personality, very kind-hearted, but the person is simple-minded, just wants to take each day at a time, which isn't bad. I think what you can do in such a situation is understand that you are liking this person because of their personality and not necessarily their manner in which they handle life. And that would help you manage your expectations with that. Once you understand that everyone's reality is different, you wouldn't try and force your own reality and expectations on that other person. So I think that's the best way to manage relationships like that. Just understand people are different, people have different goals, aspirations, and personalities, so it helps you manage your expectations. Now, when it becomes a matter that it is affecting you also, that's where you have to now set boundaries. That's where being intentional with your own life comes in. Once it's a matter of, maybe it's a roommate or a very good friend, and you see that that person's, lifestyle is also affecting you, then you have to set boundaries. Okay, I think at this moment I need to maybe reduce the number of hours I spend with this person, reduce my communication with this person so that it doesn't start to affect me. Otherwise, I don't see any reason why two people with extreme, character traits cannot be friends or be in a relationship.
So what are the tips for intentional living?
So I think in Nigeria, because I like to speak about Nigeria, it's very difficult to be intentional in Nigeria because everybody's in survival mode. Everybody's trying to, survive and all of that. So it's very difficult. So it's down to simple things like, setting boundaries, number one. Then also choosing your mental health. In a country where, to a very large extent, people glorify suffering, you have to choose your mental health. That's very intentional. When maybe you find yourself in a situation where most people will say, just manage and, I'm not saying go and quit your job, or I'm not saying go and, do something drastic, but it could be small things that maybe, just set your boundary. Choose your mental health first. Live within your means, especially when you're not ready to move to the next level. Don't force yourself into another phase of your life. It could be something as simple as staying single. Don't, because of expectations, because society creates expectations for people. When you're supposed to be successful, when you're supposed to get married, when you're supposed to start having kids. You see couples that get married, they want to wait for 1 year, 2 years, be intentional about their family planning. And then society is already saying, why are you people 2 years, people have not had children, what's going on? So in situations like that, being intentional is sticking to your choices. This is a choice I have made, or we have made as a family, and we're going to stick with it. So setting boundaries, not allowing societal pressures get to you, choosing your mental health, living within your means, setting basic principles for yourself, and allow those principles guide you. It's not easy, but at the end of the day, the whole point of intentionality is not to escape the realities of life, but it's to help with living in those situations, how to cope and help you navigate hard situations.
Yeah, so you talked about autopilot when I asked you that question. And we've been talking about intentional living, people that should be intentional. So someone is saying, well, I think I like the way I'm on autopilot. Now, being on autopilot, is it good? And can the person go far in life?
Well, I'm not in a position to say who will go far in life or not. But, you know, being in autopilot mode is not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, it's not everyone that is going to be or even wants to be a CEO or a chairman or something. Most people that are on autopilot just really want to enjoy life. You know, they are just on a cruise. Autopilot in plane means that, you know, it's automated. Things are already in place. There's a system that just allows things to go. So you have come up with a system that works for you in life, and you're just cruising life. So, you know, it could work for you, and, you know, it could work in the areas in which you have decided you want to be in life. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being on autopilot mode. Sometimes it has its downsides, obviously, because even in planes, they will tell you that they don't just leave it on autopilot and the pilots go and sleep. Because it's just to help with reducing the manpower, like the actual, you know, manpower hours that go into this. But the pilots are on standstill. They are there in case anything wants to, you know, happen. They are there too. So being on autopilot mode isn't bad, but it has its downsides.
It's been an interesting conversation.
It has.
Thank you very much, Alera.
Thank you
and
for
I like
having
the
me.
fact that we've learned that intentional living is very important.
Very important.
We're just starting 2026. So why not live intentionally? Why not plan yourself? Your mental health is very important, like you said. Set boundaries. And I think that's what many people do not do. Set boundaries at home, set boundaries at your place of work, set boundaries with family. Is it also right, just to drop this, is it also right to set boundaries with your partner, romantic partners?
Well, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
So boundaries for everybody. Set boundaries everywhere. But then healthy boundaries, I would say.
Healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries are very important. Thank you for coming, Alera.
Thank you for having me.
So we hope you come again.
Of course, why
3 times
not?
it's not bad.
3 times is the charm.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Dayo.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself today, so I would say I'll see you next weekend. I am Adedayo Kehinde.
Why won't you enjoy yourself? Because you came for Ijesha people. Anyways, my name is Elizabeth Shula and you're cooking. And please live intentionally and for a purpose. See you next week. Bye.
Well, I'm going to say being intentional is not something that you were born with. It's something you need to learn. It's something you need to train your mind, your soul, your heart, and your body to do. So be very intentional about the way you live. It's very important. Thank you for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. My name is Bababumi Agbibi.